Atataji ala butahin feliz amanheceu. Tarde noite ainda estava madrugada. Feliz amanheceu. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente pra melhor.
E rezava, foi impossível acontecer.
Feliz amanheceu. E a ausência dessa luz na escuridão. Feliz amanheceu. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente pra melhor. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente pra melhor.
E hoje tem mais,
vai ser diferente. E hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente pra melhor.
E hoje tem mais,
vai ser diferente.
e hoje tem mais, vai ser diferente pra melhor.
Welcome. Hi everyone. Beautiful to see your faces. Some of you are all still called Jade, which is funny. A lot of people catching the recording due to this happening midweek this time, but that's cool because I'm still just wanting to be in the energy of the gate. I'd love to know who saw Venus and the moon last night. There was quite a few photos popping up on the Telegram. It was exquisite. It was very, very, Venus is really high now, so we can see her easily. Yeah, it was so beautiful. And it will still, yes, you can change your own name in the top right of your own video. Just click rename. Yes, it would be great. I'd love to see your names too, because yeah, here we go. Al Amaruka, like I know who some of you are, but there's also some new people, that are in this container for the first time. So, yeah, I don't know, tech support. I always thought that would be a good name for a DJ tech support. So yeah, oh wow, because for some of you it's nighttime, of course. And it'll be visible again tonight, but I think now tonight the moon will be higher than Venus, so it won't be this pushing up energy, but still stunning. And pay attention when you look, because up to the right of Venus in a line is Jupiter. And we're going to talk about that on the call today, that Jupiter and Venus are approaching their conjunction in June. So this week, these couple of days are the introduction of an energy that is building all the way until the 10th of June. So let's just take a minute before we jump in, because this is going to be an interesting call. You're going to see me in my full relationship with the mystery. And yeah, let's just take a minute to land, inviting you wherever you are to take a big deep breath in, sigh it out, maybe shake it out, whatever you need to do, and just to land in the bod. Start to drop that awareness in and down. Perhaps shifting your focus to the hips, the thighs, the back. Resting back into the throne of your body. Noticing the way the breath flows in and out. Landing here in this moment together. And feeling this hum, the hum of aliveness, regardless of what emotions or thoughts or sensations you might be experiencing. Seeing if you can notice this hum that is existence itself, the very fact that you are alive and observing anything at all, the hum of that. Inviting you to place your hands on your lower belly, your sacrum, the place where we've been dwelling and exploring for the last month. And see if you can perceive that hum right there. Resting your awareness in the pelvis, in the womb, in the sacral. And just breathing into it for a moment. Taking a big deep breath in, sighing out. When you feel ready, slowly coming back to the call, having a little look around your space. So I have an announcement. Some of you might have already picked up on it, depending on how much attention you're paying to the chat or what I've been sharing or anything like that. And the announcement is that through my observation of the last month, observing myself in my prayers, watching Venus, communing with Venus, observing the group, I have had enough repeated direction that I feel that we have already entered the solar plexus gate, and the way that I chose to calculate from the root, actually energetically, for whatever reason, even though I couldn't see Venus at the Pisces gate, that actually where the energy has been in the last month has already been cracking through the solar plexus. Now, amongst the handful of astrologers who work with this cycle, Daniel Giamario from the Shamanic Astrology School, he was kind of the first modern astrologer to overlay the myth of Inanna and the Venus cycle with the chakras, right? The way he calculates it, going down, I don't resonate with. I resonated with the way that another teacher, Gary Caton, who's an amazing magical astrologer, he's an alchemist, he's phenomenal. And through my own observation, the descent felt really, really clear in that way. Now, with Venus going up, it's like this constant process of learning and listening. I really feel, I'm like, oh, actually, every time I would think my attention would just go to my solar plexus, and I saw so much bravery happening this month. I saw so many swift actions being taken. I saw so much engagement of courage, and I saw so many situations where people were being nudged to be like, actually, that's a no for me. Actually, I'm going to take a leap in this way. Actually, yes, like this more decisive implementation of will. Now, I had a lot of reservation about saying this, because I'm like, am I going to skip the group forwards? How are we going to do it? They're going to think I don't know what I'm talking about. Blah, 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 blah. I absolutely, there's nothing about me that can be in like glamour magic or pretending to have some authority or wanting to convince you or influence you. You know, I have to be in integrity, and I really do see this as a group effort and a journey that we're on together. And although I have a particular role, that role doesn't make me higher or lower. You know, it's just my place in the constellation of what we're doing. And so I've really sat with this, and that's where we're going. And I really invite you over this next month to feel into that, to feel into, especially this last month, where you've had to engage your will in a courageous way, your will to love, your will to live, your will to be courageous and confident and have a level of faith in yourself in alignment with what you love and value most, that has moved you in a particular direction. And we're not going to ritually skip over it, okay? We're still going to energetically travel as we need to, but the idea today is to come up and through the solar plexus into the higher will and open into the heart. And then there'll be rituals that I'm giving you to make sure that we bridge through that terrain. And when Jupiter and Venus meet on the 10th of June, I'm going to offer you another practice to really move into the heart. So, bit of a plot twist, but this is what it is to be in relationship, right? To be in a feminine practice where I'm open to being moved, where I'm open to direct experience, where I'm open to being a vessel rather than a dogmatic, like I'm so stuck to my plan and my ego that I can't listen. So here it is, you know. So let's get into it. And if any of you are like, oh my God, I hate this, please write to me and we can talk about it. You know, I'm happy to talk through it with you. Yeah. And if, yeah, whatever, if this changes things for you, etc., etc., just know that I'm here. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Make it bigger. So, this is also an extremely powerful moment, which you'll see when we get into the chart, because, yeah, Venus is in a very important spot today. How many of us are on the live call? I was going to do breakout rooms, but if there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, only like 8 of us, potentially we could just have a share collectively around how the last month has been. I would really like to hear about your strong desires, because there was this inquiry around I desire, and I'm grateful for the way that desire and gratitude, move together. And the reason we were exploring this was the cultivation of abundance, seeing where there's longing, but then also seeing where there's gratitude. Because when our longing and our receptive capacity to feel what we've already got meet, our capacity to receive expands. And when I say receive, again, it's so broad, right? It's receiving what we love and value, unique to each of our own, where we're at, what we're available for. So there's that. And in addition to that, where have you had to be brave this month? Where have you had to apply your will, your confidence, your courage to say yes, to say no, to have the will to live, to have the will to love, to have the will to have that inner fire? Yeah. So I might just put you on the spot. If you don't want to share, you don't have to, but I'm going to invite you one by one, and I would love to hear. So I'll start with Elle. You're at the top of my screen.
Kia ora. Wow, this month has been my birthday month. It's my birthday on Monday. And so being a Taurus, I feel I'm quite connected to my desires. So it's been, yeah, I have been working a lot with the question, how much good can I handle? Because that's what I've been noticing in the last couple of months, is that I can have a couple of really beautiful days where everything is going like top, and I feel so relaxed in my body and so positive, so optimistic, so grounded. But then I can do 2 days and then my nervous system freaks out, and I will be essentially expecting things to literally burst into flames, like, calamity to happen, which is something, yeah, that I noticed a couple of months ago. And so I've been sort of working with that, like when I'm in these higher states, when everything's going really well, just kind of pushing out. Yeah, to try and see how I can sort of stabilize and contain and be in this space of being relaxed and grounded in all the things that I'm manifesting, all the things that I'm directly working with and yeah, asking for. And yeah, I've made Fridays are like my ritual Venus day. Um, so that has been my way of really sticking to this container because the last month has actually been quite mad and I haven't been um so connected to all of the practices. But yeah, staying yeah, that's like my commitment is every single Friday of like doing a nice deep inquiry, which has been really cool. But yeah, I definitely feel, I mean, I felt this in the descent that I was always arriving at the next gate like a good week before we reached it. Like every single time it was like, whoa, the thing. I was like, oh, we're ready for this gate. Like I'm definitely ready. This is coming. And yeah, it's definitely yeah, the last week I've had to have some really strong boundaries with my business, which has been really good. It's been really nice. I watched myself spin out about some of these boundaries, um, and then realized like, oh, I actually got triggered because somebody said, "Oh, I respect your boundaries, but," and I was like, "Oh, that got me." And so that was quite fun. And it was just coming back to like, like the rules that I've created in my life are yeah, they are for my peace, and so they're non-negotiable. And so that's been quite a beautiful way that I'm seeing my willpower. And I think for me, a big thing about my willpower is getting really, really comfortable with it. I was so shut down when I was a little kid for being very strong-willed and feeling a lot. And so I always almost had this fear that like, oh, my will is too strong, or it's like it's got too much force around other people. And that's that was just what my mum said. It's not real. It's not real. So it's been a really beautiful time recently. I think it all ties in with that, like how much good can you handle and just, yeah, creating that sense of capacity. So I really like what you said about capacity and desire. It's so massively what I'm working with at the moment. And yeah, I'm really stoked to hear that we're going to be working deeper with the sacral and the heart. I mean, like all the work that I do, these are the chakras that are often the hardest to bridge for people. It's where lots and lots and lots of work happens. And so, yeah, it's really beautiful that we're going to be going deeper into there. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this piece around hitting the threshold, hitting the ceiling of how much good can I handle, that kind of inquiry. Part of what we'll be looking at this month is our protectors, is protection spiritually and psychologically, but also becoming more aware of our protector parts that do come online when we start hitting a threshold that feels dangerous. So hopefully that will be useful for you in that as well. Mm,
Oh, sounds right on. Thank you.
thank you,
Yay.
Karen. Shannon.
Hey, hello everybody. Um, yeah, I kind of related to what Al was saying about this month being pretty mad. It's been a big month in terms of just kind of events unfolding, which I'm still kind of digesting, I would say. And that has kind of caused me to kind of dig deep, yeah, in my will to love, I guess, and also to have boundaries and to actually just turn away from some things as well. So, yeah, the whole Eros piece sort of showed up for me in a different way than I was kind of expecting. I guess it came up in that I needed to put boundaries in, I needed to hold my ground, and it's kind of merging into this courage and will work became a part of that, I guess. So those two pieces have kind of blended together, and but I'm actually, yeah, coming out of it. A lot's been happening with my work as well. Like it just feels like there's kind of quite a lot piling on, and I've just found that I'm able to I've had to find confidence in what I can manage and what I can do, and just go in there and do it. And it's kind of working out, which is even though it's hard and I'm tired at times, it's kind of it's working out, which I'm grateful for. And that's leading to a bit more abundance in my life, which is lovely. And then I can go and spend that on myself, and it's a nice little cycle. So I'm enjoying that. And I saw Venus and the new moon over the Firth of Thames last night, and it was absolutely surreal, just beautiful. And so I just soaked that up. This is making sense to me, this moving into the solar plexus. That feels, I'm feeling that's right for me as well. So looking forward to it. And that's about all I have to say.
Great. Perfect. Thank you, honey. Yeah. We will try and keep it somewhat brief, because I want to make sure we don't go over our 2 hours. Joe.
Hello. Hi. So for me, I've been feeling that I was on the other timeline from the start. I remember each call, I felt like it was the ending of it rather than the beginning. So it made a lot of sense for me when you said that. But it's really interesting because it was a lesson for me of, do I trust what I'm feeling? Or do I trust the guide over my own instinct? And then also the kind of like an ego thing, of telling myself, okay, do you know what? Let go and actually follow this program and see if it works for you. So it was not at all a battle, but just going back and forth between what I was really living and feeling, then also trying to feel into the program that you're offering. And so that was really quite interesting, actually. I enjoyed the two things at the same time. If I think back to my sacral month, that was then before this one, I was feeling very, very creative. And I did a lot of creative work in my business. And then this past month, which was more solar plexus for me, and so you want us to talk about that and the boundaries. I feel very, very slow, and I don't really know what to share, which is also interesting because if I think back to myself a few months ago, or I'm the one on the group who lost her baby, in case, just to put it back in context. Before I lost my baby, I was someone who would share a lot, who would grow spiritually quite fast as well. I felt everything was fast. And since losing my baby, it's just everything is so slow. And I'm really enjoying the slowly coming back up and the slow steps. And the boundaries. Yeah, that definitely came up as well. I don't really know what to share, to be honest. I think I'm just gonna listen today. But I've definitely felt that this weekend I entered the heart. Yeah. And the love this whole weekend has been so much about me and my partner. And because we've been trying again for a baby lately, everything was half about the grief of losing our baby and the hope of having a next baby. And this weekend was just about us and about just putting ourselves back in the priority and it was so emotional, and it really was. And again, I really felt, yeah, this is definitely hard now. I'm not so this. I'm so happy with the timing changing that you're offering today. Um, yeah, and I'm just ready for continuing this month on the heart journey. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm loving hearing this like collective orientation to time. It's a big subject. Caralia, hi.
Hey, so I'm just unpinning Joe. Pin everyone when they speak so I can just tune into you. Um, yeah, I don't really know what to say. I did attempt to drop into the desire thing and there was just nothing present. Um, yeah, I do a lot of prayer and gratitude now anyway. Um, yeah, it almost felt like by desiring something, it's like pushing it away because it's affirming that it's not here or like it was just yeah. Um, mm, just noticing a lot of energy moving, particularly through the right side, just dropping into meditation and being on the call. Like it's like I almost just it's hard to talk. It's almost like I'm being pulled back into that energetic flow. And what were the other questions?
In this last month, ways where you've felt your will engage, your confidence, your courage, the will
Mm,
piece, be it personal or higher will, either.
yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, it's always engaged. Like it's not never like I'm always like that doesn't kind of compute. Like when is it not? Because otherwise nothing's happening. Yeah, so not quite sure how to. Yeah, it's almost feeling like the questions aren't even computing for my experience of real. I'm like, am I in a rebellious phase right now? Like, well, I don't know what's going.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, it kind of makes sense because you have such an advanced tantric practice and you kind of inhabit a lot of this energetically, I think, anyway. It'll be really
yeah.
interesting to see with this timing shift if something
Mm-hmm.
around the heart, especially with your Leo
Mm-hmm.
placements, wakes
Mm-hmm.
up this month. It'll be really
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And also because of your strong embodiment practice, the visually looking at Venus and noticing what's happening somatically as you
Yeah.
look at direct transmission, that can be really powerful too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where I need to lean in more because I have remembered a couple of times when I've been outside to, oh yeah, Venus, to just surrender to that and merge with that. So I need to do that again this week because I do feel like that's where things just happen. Yeah, the will, the heart. There's a real sense of shifting from letting the past define to letting the future pull. So attuning to, because I'm also working with Kayla Anderson and her God frequency container right now, and just really attuning to the future me as the boss of me. So that's what's pulling me forward, rather than allowing the psyche and the way that it looks for pattern recognition based on the past to determine current actions, which just the word reinforces the past, etc. So it feels like there's a real threshold shift in orientation to moving from the future. That's really dropped in this week in a very embodied, strong way of like, oh yeah, what's the future telling me to do? Just letting that lead me. Mm.
There's so much courage in that too, isn't it? To trust yourself enough to let go of the
Yeah.
safety of um, the evidence that we have because of the past. The past has a lot of evidence, and
Mm.
the future requires a lot of courage and
Mm.
a lot of it does require, I guess, in a way, just that higher will, not so much the personal will that makes you like get up and
Yeah.
practice or say no, but the higher will, which I would say is the will to live, the will to love, the
Mm,
will to be like
mm,
willing to
hmm.
trust that I can actually exist and orient to a version of reality that is not backed by lived experience yet,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
plug into that.
yeah.
Um,
That describes it really well. Like that's just what's happened. Like I'm taking actions that make no sense logically based on the past or whatever, but I can feel, I can just feel it. I'm like, this is what's happening. It's not even that I'm choosing it in a way, it's choosing me and I'm just surrendering to it. And it's just so palpable of like, oh yeah, this is what needs to happen next. This is what's happening next, even though it makes no logical sense and almost looks irresponsible and crazy. But no, this is what's happening. I'm just, yeah, I'm just done. I'm
I
done
think
with that.
it's like when we're ready, when the moment's right, that we're available for at a certain level with our nervous system, like you've cultivated so much life force for so long, and you've got that ground of being to hold yourself, and that's where that kind of like delusional delusional leaps of faith, and which could be inappropriate for some people in some moments, but once you reach a point, I kind of think it's like that is the quantum leaping
Mm.
starts to really pop off. So I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for helping me tease that out too.
yeah, no problem. Thank you so much. Um, Rachel.
Kia ora. I yeah, I've been going through in this container. I left the job that I had been in for 3.5 years. Um, yeah, yeah, and um, I have been feeling a bit of grief about like the community that I left behind. Like I needed to do this for myself. I'm studying at home, which it's an interesting transition because I've come out of environment where there's like a lot of people and a lot of stimulation, and I'm like here by myself trying to like cultivate this. Yeah, this will has been a strong thing because I'm studying and I'm like trying to focus and like have faith in myself that I can do this work. And one thing that happened recently was there was a guy that I was quite attracted to, but I basically kind of got a bit rejected, and he went with another girl, and they recently had a baby, and they're a beautiful couple, and I'm just so happy for them because yeah, it's an amazing time. Um, but there was a lot of grief. I'm happy for them at the same time. I like feel some grief around like will that ever happen for me, and just yeah, I've been sitting into the faith of like I feel really aligned with where my study is taking me and the life that I'm creating for myself, and yeah, I've just felt like kind of an ego death, really, just like letting leaving letting go of the ego that I built up in my past job and really transitioning into this phase of life.
So proud of you. You know, you have such a incredible mind, and putting it to this work that you're putting it to now. Yeah, I think is courageous too, right? It is courageous, and I hear you on the grief piece as well. That's been part of my month, year life. um, and again, kind of reflecting on what Carolia was saying around the evidence of the past and the grief and the feelings and the things that we've got being not the dictator of where we're going, which is post traumatic growth, basically, you know. So epic.
Yeah, thank you.
Can't wait to see what you come up with. Who else have we got? Is that Fleur?
Yes, it is.
Hey.
Hello. Um, I'm in my car office. I just couldn't not be Paul. So my apologies that I've been driving, but I've arrived at work, and I can stay for another 10 minutes, I think, in the car park, okay, before I go in. And so I'll be brief. I'll preface what I'm going to say by I have an appetite to connect with you, Lara, just to Sankhya, sorry, um, uh, in privately, just so that I can get on this train in the best way. As I mentioned in the group chat, I have been in India for 3 months with very little internet and an intensive training that had us, 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, and diving deep into meditation practice and some asanas, but mostly meditation, lots of unstressing and cleansing. And I've come out a graduate that allows me to teach Vedic meditation in the practice that I've been doing since I was 10, which is delightful. What I've noticed since I've been back, which is almost a month now, so interesting that you say, yeah, I can very pertinently, clearly talk to this last month. Recalibrating back into the relative world, I guess, or my hometown, and meeting the relationships that were a certain way before I went to India, and now that I'm back, namely my primary intimate relationship has just, it's ridiculously a dog's breakfast. It's just how this man has not journeyed with me is very clear. And even since I've been back, has hardly asked me a question about my time in, that was 3 months of intensive, obvious, very clear, earnest choice for self and creative, a creative choice for the way that I move in the world, and not just vocationally, but how I relate to others and all of that. And he's, gone the other way, it seems, sort of spiraled into alcoholism and, just checking out, which has, been disruptive for my heart. And I need to find the will not to choose that man, I guess. Yeah. But work-wise and all other ways, my life is exquisite. I'm very fortunate and, have a beautiful magic carpet ride of a life, beautiful daughter, beautiful job, beautiful home, and health. So my question for myself is how is that not reflected in my intimate relationship? And then I've looked at what I bring to that. I put in the chat that I was made aware that my Mars is conjunct Chiron in Aries, and that perhaps I was a problematic person in relationship. And so, I'm looking inward at that. Yeah, I'll leave it there. And I'm just, apart from just saying I'm so grateful to be in this beautiful container with you all, and I look forward to getting to know you better now that I'm back. And like I say, I might have a reading or something with you, Sankhya, to establish that connection properly, so that I'm not just, hitchhiking. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, honey. Yeah, I'm all too familiar with the tests. Often when we do a ton of work and we shift and so much moves and we spend 3 months in the mountains, for example, meditating, and then there'll be a test afterwards. And that can be really challenging because we're so open and sensitive and we've done all this growth. And then it's like, here's the test, So feeling you in that for sure. Okay, we got two more. We got Katie and then Amaruka. Katie Rose.
Hi, all. Blessings. Oh, goodness. So glad to be here with you all. I feel so tender today, and just this gate has been, oh my God, a complete mix of sacral and solar plexus energies for me, because as I encountered, and there was a mix even last gate, now reflecting on it as well, from root to sacral. And as I connected with my desires or lack of desires at times, and allowing myself to value and the direction of the desire, and instead of negating it or interacting with it from a place of rejection or fear, I found that I really needed to engage my will to move forward with that information, and kind of in that field of inspiration that is my desire. And I began this month a sadhana to do with transgenerational healing of my mother and father lines, which I'm currently in, and I'm pairing that with regular yoni steams as well, realizing that in my creative center I have a lot of old charge and a lot of old experiences that energetically are ready to be cleared. And so making room, I feel like I'm making space for love to come in, even in my home, in my body, and to hold these practices and keep my schedule for this, and say no to other invitations and other works and other things that would take that time from me, has required my will. And now I feel that push to that it must be done with love, like a loving will. And so I'm grateful that of this change. I didn't quite anticipate or know what it would be at first, but now I can my hands down here, I can feel this container of my root and my heart as a supportive space for what for me personally feels like a challenge with the water and the fire, like earth and air, good feeling for me, and then water and fire, all right, let's see what happens there. So I feel really, I needed to do a few things to regulate myself today, because I've also experienced a test. A number of things that you all shared just stood out to me as incredible mirrored emotions or experiences, things that also appeared in my journey. And who said ego death? A breeze came and blew my candle out here on my altar. And so I just feel this huge connection. But yeah, I'm moving through a test to do with a man right now, someone that I just met, and my system kind of felt really fried since last night, and so I feel even more grounded now here with you all. And what a moment to be alive. This is a lot of aliveness. It's a lot. It's really a lot right now. Yeah, so just I also quit smoking this gate again. Here we go. I think I'm not the only one in this group who has mentioned this. So I'm here. I'm on the journey, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you all. Thanks, Sanchia.
Blessings. Thank you, darling. Yes. Amaruka. Hola.
Hola, everybody. So nice to be here on the live call. I'm outside with my daughter, so I'm going to be a little mobile following her around. She just led me over to some rose bushes. So, yeah, I would say like my life is like completely different than I imagined it would be as of a month ago because of our move, selling all our belongings, basically quantum leaping into a new timeline. It feels like that I was not expecting. So we're like literally living on the road out of our car and just feeling really free in that. And it was sort of like a force, but also chosen thing as well, because it just doesn't feel right for us to get into a new lease. And ever since that decision, everything's been flowing, like money and just like things manifesting really beautifully, really like in flow, which I haven't been in a long time like this, like since before I had a baby. So it feels kind of like I feel kind of rusty in it, but I'm like finding my ground. And it just makes sense. We're like, oh yeah, of course, like this is what we need to be doing. We're both musicians. We have a lot of things that we're like building right now. So anyway, that feels like a big solar plexus. And that makes sense now, Sanchia, why I've always been all tripped up about like, well, when does the gate start? Like, why are there all these different opinions, of like, does it start then? Does it start now? Like, but I feel like getting that embodied sense now is like the jewel of this, and it's like, okay, you have this felt lived experience now. Now we don't have to like question so much in our minds. As everyone was sharing, I was kind of getting some more downloads about the will as well. I'm seeing it a lot with my daughter and like I keep like calling her strong-willed because I don't know what else to call it, but she's very much like, this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it and I don't care and I'm confident about it and this is my boundary. And I feel like we've been a little bit in some tension. I know, you put those there. I'm learning how to navigate my will with her will and my boundaries, and she's learning her boundaries. So that was something I realized through that. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's my share. Just really, yeah, taking the bold leaps and feeling like I'm being moved, like we're really being moved by a momentum that's been building for a long time, or at least like a process of waiting for this moment of like fortification and purification of the last year. And now I feel like the blessings of that are pouring in this like very unexpected way. So, yeah.
Epic. Wow. Thank you all so much. All right, we're on track. Yeah, that was, I know sometimes listening to like lots of other people sharing, for me, it's something I struggle with. Not when I'm hosting, but when I'm in containers. But in a moment like this, really good to get the group field feedback and be like, okay, we're Aquarian decision making, we're on track. Good. Okay. The people have spoken. Yes, humbled perpetually by the mystery. I am. So let's go back and take a look at this. Can you all see my screen? Yeah, okay. This is where we are. Put myself there. Right. So here we can see, let's say that was Pisces. That was kind of where we started. So now We're up here. And now we will be crowning, peaking, when Venus is at max elongation, the highest point in the sky, in Libra. She will crown earlier because of this shift, but I'm still wanting us to spend until that October point together, right? For preparation for when she starts dropping. So here we are in this moment. And then, okay, I'm looking at my big screen now. I've already talked about that. This is what the sky looks like last night. Have a look again tonight if you missed it. Feel what happens as you gaze upon it with open eyes and an open heart and an open receptive stance to allow that to enter your being and notice what you feel, if not in the moment, in your dreams afterwards or, you know, around. So this piece around the will, I really was contemplating. There's personal will, which is like probably like a lot of what your baby Amaruka is really tuning into right now, which is like, I want that, I'm going for that, this is what I'm doing, I'm determined, I'm, you know. And then there's this higher will, which is, if you think of like literally right under this kind of piece here, like really right under, really here. And if this is your heart, really tuning in to that, you know, when you get scared and your happens, it's kind of the opposite of that when we're opening up into this. Where do you have, where is this will and the courage to believe that an entirely different reality is possible? That the thing that you have never known yet, or that your faith, your trust, your belief, the part of you that knows there is heaven on earth, the part of you that knows everything's already perfect, the part of you that has this connection to divine intelligence is willing to move from, right? And this is called a higher love because it is about orienting to the transpersonal dimension of love, which is informing our evolution. Yes, it shows up personally, but collectively, right? As well, and spiritually. So it's like a lot of it's actually about faith, you know, but it's not faith out there. It's faith that actually I'm exactly where I need to be. Nothing is wrong. What if nothing is wrong? That doesn't mean that we don't desire to change or to grow or to keep evolving, or a longing for justice or a longing for peace or a longing for abundance or whatever. But it's that piece of like being brave enough to have the will to live. I'm not going to lie, some things happened this month that opened up really intense core wounds in my nervous system, where I was having moments of like, there's nothing to live for. Really deep moments of the longing for death, the opposite of the will to live. And in that moment, it's not my personal willpower. I can't like force my way through it. It's the higher will that is like, I am willing to stop grasping from my small self and to surrender myself into, I don't know everything yet. I don't, to stop preempting what I think is coming, right? It's a loop that we can break. Devotion's a big part of it. So that's also why we have these practices. And get out. This is the chart, okay? This is where we're at. So Venus today is at 0 Cancer. When the sun is at 0 Cancer, That's the solstice. It's the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere or the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. So 0 Cancer is a world point. Yeah, there's 4 cardinal signs that start the seasons. That's Cancer, Capricorn, Aries and Libra. And these are the solstices and the equinoxes. So Venus, she's at 0 Cancer with the moon. This is a peak and a vibe shift, you know, a peak, and it's like that point, something reaches the peak of its story, and then the narrative starts changing. The light starts dropping or the light starts returning. And the other really incredible thing about Venus being at 0, almost exactly 0 degrees and 2 arc minutes of Cancer, is that Mars, her lover, is at 0 Taurus. So when we're looking at relationships between planets or aspects on an astrological chart, the things that have the tightest aspect, like they're at the same degree, are the things we look at first. So 0, 0. They're 1 degree, 1 sign apart, which is called a sextile. A sextile is, if you look at like a beehive, a hexagon, that angle, which is also like a carbon molecule, it is the strongest shape. That space between them, that is the degree of the sextile, is so strong. They're reinforcing each other. What is Venus? Venus is what we love and value most. It's what we want. Mars is how we go and get it. Yeah, Mars is the actions that are taken, the masculine impetus for movement and cutting off or moving towards, that goes and gets what Venus wants. And so to have Venus sitting at the world point, 0 Cancer, opening this gate of the heart. What is Cancer? Cancer is the great mother. Cancer is our sense of belonging, our sense of being safe enough to be nourished, our sense of, literally rules the breasts, the mother's milk, you know, all of the ways that emotionally, it's a water sign as well, we can actually feel safe enough to have what we need. And I think it's so interesting that a few of you were talking about this, that preemptive vigilance based on past experience of like anticipating something going wrong, where we can start to shift with the protective support of Mars and Taurus into this opening of the heart and using our higher will to do it. Do you actually have the will to live? Do you actually have the will to love? And I'm not talking about personal will. I'm not talking about talking yourself into it or like pushing. It's like, is there a place in us where we can actually feel a willingness to let our soul actually collaborate with the highest possible potential for this planet, for heaven on earth? Because we're all going to die anyway. Like, what have you actually got to lose? There's the perpetual guarding against the suffering and the perpetual trying to dodge, you know, the horrors. And then there's the creative potential. And they're both are always going to be there. What I find really interesting about this is that the other closest aspect is this. Right in between, at the midpoint of Venus and Mars, is Uranus, the great awakener, the great disruptor, the innovator, has just moved into Gemini. And Gemini is about paradox. It's about both and. It's about agility, innovation, being able to compute that this world can be dangerous, predatory, full of horror. You can have all the past evidence that says you're not safe, you're going to be rejected, you're unloved, no one's going to buy your thing. The predatory forces of dominated consciousness are fucking the planet and we're powerless and there's nothing we can do. There's that. And there is radical creative potential, to anchor heaven on earth and be magicians and quantum leap, like, you know, what many of you are mentioning. They're both there at the same time. And so that's sitting at the midpoint of Mars and Venus at this gate. Mars in Taurus, Mars, the will, Venus in Cancer, opening into the heart, the nourishment of the mother. And Cancer can be extremely protective, right? Because it wants to protect that safety. It wants to protect that nourishment. It wants to guard the home with its little crabby shell. So we have to be in healthy relationship with our protector parts in order for them to not hijack everything and prevent us from actually receiving that nourishment, having a heartly life, residing in all the and receiving all the nourishment that's available. So there's a beautiful story playing out here. Very powerful moment astrologically, and I'm very, very happy that we're moving together into the heart, because it feels like a blessing. And that's the other thing. So do you know which house is in Cancer for you in your chart? That's always going to be relevant. It's going to be bringing relevance of the Cancer energy into your life. You can put it in the chat if you know which house is in Cancer, and if you have any planets there, you can put it in the chat here. You can put it in the Telegram. Whichever house you have ruled by Cancer gives you more intel about where to look for this opening, right? And also where Mars is informing how you go and get it. Second house, self-worth, personal resources. 12th house, there's your practices. 9th house, higher learning, foreign lands, teaching, publishing, how you communicate with, it's the direct phone line to God, basically, the 9th house. 11th house, community, your audience, who the people are, so the nourishment of the crowd, and also safety within that. There is, remember, on the website a guide to the 12 houses and what they each represent, and it's not comprehensive because you could study the houses for years, but there's some basic stuff there. What I also want to talk about, did I put the chart up for us? I did. Okay, so spend between now, if you need some time, I'm a bit of a slow mover sometimes I need the time, so I like to make sure other people have it too, to really feel into this will. Where is your will to live? Where is your will to believe that within the paradox of a dualistic reality where there are the horrors and the miracles happening at the same time, to trust that you can orient your creative capacity as a human being to the thing you want to see, to the thing that you believe is possible, right? With no real attachment to the outcome, but to actually have the will to live, the will to love, the will to have post-traumatic growth, let's call it. That's an important thing too. And we'll talk about some of the ways you can do that in a minute. When we get to June 10th, please put June 10th, 2026 in your calendar. If you're in New Zealand, if you're over in the US or in Europe, it'll be the next day. No, the day before. It'll be the 9th. When Jupiter, exalted in Cancer, Jupiter, the greater benefic. Jupiter is like Zeus. He's Ganesh. He is the great expansive remover of obstacles. He's also very zealous, and he's a womanizer, and he kind of goes over the top at times. But Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, extremely generous, extremely abundant, extremely idealistic. You know, there's been a lot of patriotism and nationalism and like the homeland, stuff going on with Jupiter in Cancer. But when Venus, the lesser benefic, what we love and value, meets Jupiter, the greater benefic, in Cancer, a sign that they both thrive in, and we can see it in the evening sky, this is the day when I really want you to tune in with this heart energy, okay? The capacity to be in healthy relationship with your protector parts, with your crabby shell, and to be opening from that divine will into that rich, nourishing relationship, with the wider web of life, with heaven on earth, because this is a heavenly frequency. This is great mother energy. This is Kuan Yin, compassionate, overflowing Mother Mary, benefic, beautiful, beautiful. And there was a meeting between Jupiter and Cancer, 12th of August 2025. It was much earlier. And Venus was not an evening star. She was of a different quality. This is a maturing upon that theme. Something is blossoming that was kind of seeded back then, and it's blossoming now at the heart after Venus opened the gate at 0 Cancer. There's a lot of really benefic energy available this month. So the way that I'm suggesting we kind of play it is that we tune in to the higher will, to that divine will, until the 10th. And simultaneously being aware of the heart. Just go with what's happening for you, obviously. Trust yourselves. Like, you're already like, I already knew that we were a gate ahead. Of course you did. Brilliant. Great. I love that. And on the 10th, I'm going to offer you something, meditation practice and a anointing of the heart, so a ritual, to sanctify your heart, to be encoded with the intention of your higher will. And yes, I'll provide it a couple of days early. I'll provide it like in the week before so that you've actually got it, to sanctify your heart as a gateway for birthing heaven on earth, because Cancer is also the mother. And when we're working with Venus, we are working with the feminine principle, Venus and the moon. It's like all we love and value, and then the lunar. This is about the creative capacity of the feminine to birth beauty onto the earth, to come into right relationship with all pieces. Because remember, Venus is encoded, her pattern is encoded with golden ratio, which is that harmonious, proportionate relationship between all moving parts. That's what she teaches us. That's what we absorb from our relationship with her on earth, yeah? That was good. How's that landing? Is that feeling? August 12th, 2025. Yeah, that was the last Jupiter-Venus conjunction. I think. Yes, August 12th. Yeah. The heart, there's this innocence to the heart, which, for those of you who have done the Heart Alchemy Sadhana with me, where we meditated on dropping our consciousness into the heart and perceiving in and through the heart as an organ of wisdom, there is so much spaciousness and warmth and purity in the heart when we're actually, our consciousness is anchored there. And there's something here around Venus and the relationality of Venus, because on the feminine path and with Venus, it's very relational. We encounter a lot of suffering often, and that suffering is one of our greatest teachers, right? Because it teaches us about the difference between containment and isolation. For one, you know, we get something hurt, something lands, and we want to go into our crabby Cancer shell and we want to pull up the protections, and then the protectors get really, really overactive, and then suddenly, boom, the creative capacity is cut off. We don't trust that beautiful timeline. We're just on alert for the other one, you know, for the evidence of the past. And then we're perpetuating it from that defensive place. And this is okay, it's a natural process. But if we're coming into mastery, if we're coming into mastery with Venus, and we're coming into apprenticeship with love, literally, which is what Venus does, being so incredibly truthful with ourselves about where we're at, which I think all of you are totally capable of, and actually coming back into relationship with the purity of the heart rather than the mind's stories about what we can or can't do, actually descending into the heart and resting there, we start to, it will happen organically, especially when you're plugged into this current with Venus, melting away those protectors that are kind of standing in the way of your ability to get on board with your creative potential and with what is potentially birthing through you, for you, and for all life, yeah? Also, this purity of the heart is where all of those things we've been working with, belonging, desire, the lower will, what we want in our personal life, it starts to purify and it starts to become about something bigger than just ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't still act for ourselves and create our individual lives, but it's, and this is what Evening Star Venus is about too, it's a matured feminine. It's a matured feminine that is like, when I purify, and when I say purify, I just mean unhooking our desire. Sometimes our desire and what we want, what we're trying to create, we're trying to create it to navigate against all the things we're scared of. And what I mean by purify is when we stop, when we sort of get into the heart's intelligence. It's funny, I'm trying to put words around it here. A lot of energy moving as I'm getting ready to run the embodiment. And that fear starts to fall away. There's a clarity of what we're creating, which is in service not just to ourselves, but to all life. And I think it's super, super important to get clear on that with this work, because we can become very powerful creators. There's endless examples everywhere that is not in service to the highest good of all life, you know? Yeah. Again, I can talk about this, but the experience of it is in the practices, right? That's where it comes alive. So I want to talk a little bit about protection, because this is, you know, we have a couple of things going on with protection. Shamanically, spiritually, in my experience, the greatest spiritual protection you can have is your relationship with benefic forces. The more time you spend creating a relationship with, through devotion, through prayer, through all the different forms of communion with plants, different things, benefic forces, Jesus, angels, ancestors that feel supportive, the stronger those relationships are, the more protected you are. Rather than feeling that we need to like have a lot of weapons to defend ourselves, which tends to pull us energetically into more battles, those strong benefic forces that we cultivate relationships with over time tend to do a much better job of protecting us without entangling us in ongoing battles and warfare and struggles, right? So doing this journey you are cultivating spiritual protection. Doing your, like those of you that do dietas, those of you that do deity practices, those of you that pray, like all of this, the stronger those relationships are, the more protected you are spiritually. And of course there are spiritually protective practices, which I've given one here, because when we start trusting more, when we start activating that divine will and trusting that a new and different reality is opening up in front of us and that we're expanding and we're becoming available for more, we're going to be more creatively potent, we're going to be more visible. As your light grows, and I've seen this time and time again with people who go and do long processes in the jungle or big spiritual practices, get so shiny and so full of radiance, and then one of two things can happen. We can start attracting envy, jealousy, predatory people that want to come and like nom 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 on what you've cultivated instead of having it for themselves. Or just karmic tests, just tests that come to pressure tests like, ooh, can you hold this? Can you hold this? Or are you going to collapse and have to sort of spiral back around again? So as we're moving and as we're filling up with this energy of Venus, as we're rising with her, energetically, we might have wobbles and it's like, oh, I need to feel protected. I need to resource myself. So one of the ways that we can do that is by doing some ritual, protective baths, specifically with Venus. I love rosemary. Okay, I love the upright growing rosemary, not the droopy one, the one that grows upright, the rose of Mary. Okay, very connected to Mother Mary, very connected to the qualities of the sun and Jupiter. So very, like, again, benefic, but very protective. It's got those antibacterial qualities. It's got those purifying qualities. And the way that it grows upwards is very like straightens everything up. So all you need to do is get some of those big, tall, fresh rosemary sprigs. You can either have a pot of water, big pot of water, big soup pot, and put them in and warm it up to release some of those volatile oils and pray over it. For me, I always pray to the Virgin Mary. I have a strong connection with her. I visualize it, that this beautiful, sparkling veil of protection is going to fall over me and soak into me, and there are jewels. And I just want to show you this image actually. You know, and you see a lot of those Virgin Mary images with the blazing heart and the Venusian iconography, because the Queen of Heaven and the way that Virgin Mary has been mythically adopted and evolved over time is actually very connected to Venus as the evening star. So this is kind of the vibe that I feel when I connect with Venus as the evening star. Very, very radiant. But the Great Mother, any aspect of the Great Mother that feels useful. And then get naked. Big scooping that water up, bathing it, pouring it all over yourself. Beautiful veil of protection. And air dry. You know, don't go and shower it off. Sleep like that. Let it work for 24 hours. You can also soak in a hot bath with the same thing, with the rosemary in it, praying, blessing the waters, then getting in and letting it all soak in. This is a stabilizing energetic practice, especially for like what you were saying, Elle, where you kind of feel really good and then you hit a threshold and it's like, oh, I'm scared. I'm starting to get the like, when's the other shoe gonna drop energy going, or you've met a new person and it's going really well and then boom, the fear starts coming, or you're feeling great, but things are growing and people are starting to talk about you behind your back. They're starting to be envious. Your family's starting to be like, oh, she's sold out, she's a weirdo. Whatever the nasty stuff is, these are simple practices, okay? Energetically. The other thing I want to talk about though, so that's like the spiritual, shamanic, energetic side. It's very important to be aware that within our psyche, within our psychological framework, we have protectors. We have parts of our personality that are designed to keep us safe. And they probably do a really good job and were really important, but sometimes they get stuck. Sometimes they insist on being in the driver's seat when it's unnecessary. Sometimes we become so familiar with them and so reliant on them that they start sabotaging us. So, where can I put this? So like one of my protector parts, this is like an example I could use, I call him the general. And the general is like a boot camp army guy. It's that part of myself that tells me nothing's ever quite good enough. No matter what I achieve, I always could have done a little bit better. And don't get too big for your boots. Don't celebrate too hard. Don't think that you're doing too well. And make sure that you're constantly scanning for where you have failed to meet the standard. Now, that part of myself, and he's ruthless, he's savage. He's like quite an abusive character. But that part of myself was developed when I was a young teenager and I was very unsupported by adults in my life, and I needed to have extremely strong personal will to kind of leave the environment I was born into. You know, it was a survival mechanism. It worked. It got me to just be like, I'm doing this, nothing can stop me. I'm ambitious, I'm hungry, I'm going, I'm pushing. It's very like F45 kind of like, yeah, no pain, no gain, like go. That energy, and it served a purpose. And there are still moments in my life where it's appropriate to switch that on for a minute. But when it starts running wild, it's total self-sabotage, okay? So I talk to the general. I sit down and I feel him, and I imagine he's sitting in front of me, and I'm like, dude, what's going on here? And he's just like, I'm scared that if you drop the ball, I'm scared that if you think that you think that you're good enough, you'll drop the ball and you won't be able to survive. You know, it's really important, because otherwise what starts happening is our protectors are flying, you know, doing their job, and we're making it about all the reasons why we're not safe in the world. And we're giving ourselves that negative reinforcement based on past evidence, instead of recognizing that our own internal protectors need negotiating with, need to be soothed. Maybe they need something from us to calm down. This is parts work. It's pretty basic modern psychology, but I just want you to be aware that as we move through that will into the heart, this is a place where the protectors can get really loud, where we need healthy protection and we need to be aware of them and in a good relationship with them. We also don't want to be self-sabotaged by them or hijacked by them. Yeah? So spend some time with your protections, maybe journaling, noticing when you get scared, when you get overwhelmed, what protections kick in, what are they serving, where are they not serving, where is it going to be necessary to lay some of them down, yeah, to actually move into the radiance of the heart. And containment is important. Just because we're feeling our heart opening doesn't mean we have to spill it out straight away. Just because we're feeling turned on and creative and inspired doesn't mean we have to share it with the whole world straight away. Just because we're feeling horny and we're feeling a lot of desire doesn't mean we just have to go and grab somebody straight away. Can we learn to stay close enough to our own current, close enough to our own center? Because that can be another thing that's happened when we've been really kind of repressed or scared, or our protectors have been on really hard. Then they come off and everything explodes out all at once and kind of consumes and overwhelms us, and then the protectors jam back on. So containment, being different than repression, we kind of give yourself little doses, you know? Give yourself the permission to titrate in and out of that. Is this landing? Is this making sense, what I'm talking about? Okay. It is. Good. So, coming back to our 3 pillars, radiance. Radiance, remembering, is about self-acceptance and being in contact with your own essence. As things start to open in the heart here, can you actually stop to feel the flavor of your own heart? To just actually be with it and actually feel it and let it fill up. Can you be full of yourself? I don't know if this is an expression in other places, but in New Zealand it's an insult. They'll be like, oh, she's so full of herself. It's like arrogant, or yeah, arrogant. Being full of yourself is not arrogant, it's present, you know. And with containment, with your divine will engaged, where can you start to play with radiance? Feeling your radiance and not blasting it all out like this, but letting it start to sparkle, letting it start to sit just on the surface of your being. And then notice what your protectors do. Notice what your protectors do from that place. Yeah. The abundance piece, because we are working with the nourishment of Venus, of the Great Mother, of Cancer. Are you feeling nourished? Again, we were working on this last month, but continuing. Are you stopping to notice the beauty around you? Are you noticing the things of value you have? I'm like, damn, I want to buy this new puppy and it's like $3,000. That's crazy. I don't know if I can afford that. But in this moment, I'm like, I have a really nice phone. You know, I just want to take a moment to be like, I have a really nice phone. I had a really good breakfast this morning. It was delicious. Small, again, a lot of this is about slowing down, you know, it is. But is there something you can do this month to feel more nourished, to allow yourself to receive 5% more nourishment? Again, it's going to require negotiation with those protector pieces. And then devotion. This is big with the heart. This is big. What is bigger than you? It's coming back to those 5 core values. What gives meaning to your life? What is bigger than you? And when you think about it and how much you love it, or them, or it, or how beautiful it is, what happens in your heart? You know, as you sit at your altar this month, lighting your candles, burning your incense, singing, making prayers, can you feel your heart opening towards your altar and literally pouring out to the altar and feeling the altar receiving that nourishment from you? You really want to pay attention to the breasts as well, not just the heart, but the breasts, the nipples. Pouring that devotion out in the privacy of your own altar, in the privacy of your own life, asking for nothing in return. The nourishment of your own heart, Yeah, flowing out towards that which is bigger than you. And just curiously seeing what happens. All of these slides will be there. And as always, I give all of this to you and you take what lands. It might be one thing that lands. This is a transmission. This call is a transmission. There's information, there's opportunities, there's practices, but you're all on your own journey. Your lives are on their own path. Things have their own momentum, and this is a current, right, that's running. But I do want, I am giving you a ritual for this month to move through the solar plexus, and then there'll be a ritual for the heart. So those are going to come at the end, but these are all just other like suggestions on beingness, on orientation, on awareness. So yeah, let's get ready for our embodiment piece. I'm going to get my pipe. We're actually not going to use any music. I think I'm going to sing today because I'm dieting Rose. Yeah, have a little bathroom break, everybody. 5 minutes, 3 minutes. So inviting you, wherever you are, to just start to drop into the body, landing back in the throne of your being. All the information, all the sharing, all the talking, feeling that just melt down as you shift your awareness to the back of the head, the back of the spine, back of the legs, resting back into the throne of your being. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth, and landing down here and now. Inviting you to bring a hand to your solar plexus, and just above your navel and below your breasts, to breathe into this space. And as you bring your awareness to this space, simply want you to listen and feel as I sing the part of you with the will to live and the will to love and the will to believe and to know that heaven on earth is possible, that you have immense creative capacity, and to trust in the beauty that is available, in the abundance that is available, in the radiance that is available for you. To feeling into that courage, the courage to have faith, the courage, the will. And to notice as you feel into that, what's happening to your heart. So I'm going to sing with the rose, and then we'll do a brief visualization to open these gates afterwards. Medicina de la rosa, vuelta iruna di da di, vuelta madre medicina, pura luz divina y vuelta, vuelta luz divina de la rosa di da di, vuelta, vuelta medicina celestial di di. Hi da di da di da di, ah da di da di da di, abriendo medicina, pura luz divina y linda fuego, abriendo di di di, brilla, brilla luminoso, fuego, fuego di di di. Brilla, 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 Venus, Venus, di, di, di. Reina, reina de los cielos, brilla, brilla, di, di, di. Brilla, brilla, madre divinita iruna, di, di, di. Madre María, Madre María, protectando mis amigas, protectando di, 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 conectando con tu pura medicina, di, 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 abriendo corazones, abriendo di, 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 con la luz divina de la rosa iruna, di, di, di. Rosa, rosa medicina, brilla, brilla, di, di, di. Abre, abre corazones, abre, abre, di, di, di. Luz divina de los cielos, conectando, di, di, di. Venus, Venus, estrellita, cushi, cushi, di, di, di. Hi, dai, di, da, di, da, di, di. Ah, dai, di, da, di, da, di. Diosita de los cielos, pura medicina. Inviting you now to connect with a rose gold flame appearing at the solar plexus, a spark of copper luminous light to send your breath into this flame and to feel it grow. This flame of your divine will, your higher will, grows and grows and begins to transform into a bright rose gold flower, the rose of Venus emerging at the gate of the solar plexus. You breathe into this, you feel the determination, the aspiration, the inspiration the part of you that is willing and able and longing to live in alignment with your highest, most loving, creative power. Breathing from the solar plexus. As you inhale, sipping that luminous rose gold current up into your heart. Breathing again, inhaling, drawing this light up into the heart. And on the third inhale, feeling, seeing or knowing that this rose is moving up through your solar plexus, up into your heart, breathing it up. Letting a sigh out or any sound as you feel the rose of Venus arriving in the heart. The temple of your heart. The portal, the gateway, the chamber between heaven and earth. This place of incredible, infinite wisdom. Unconditional love. Pure awareness. As you feel this rose opening in the gateway of the heart, I invite you to bring your hands to prayer at your heart. Such a deep honoring to the part of you that is willing to walk this path, the path of the feminine, the path of the rose. The willingness to move as love in this world. Asking and knowing that this love will protect and guide you on the next part of this journey. Opening us to infinite possibilities for the highest good of all beings across all time and space. In the name of the Great Mother, thank you. The heart gate is open. Very gently, slowly, inviting you to come back to the space in your own time. And so, thank you, the heart gate is open. We have 2 rituals this month, because remember, we're still making our potion. And the ritual for the solar plexus is quite simple. It's to take a piece of paper and write all your desires, all your gratitudes, all your visions, all your dreams, everything that's emerging from the solar plexus, from this higher will. Write it all down. A gold pen would be great. Get creative if you want to draw all over it, do whatever you want. And you take that piece of paper, sprinkle it with some cinnamon to warm it up. You could also use dried ginger, warming spices, a little bit of sugar, some dried rose petals if you have some. Fold it up. Kiss it, bless it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And then place that in a fireproof vessel and burn it. Collect those ashes and place them in your jar with the stone and the water, the things from the other 2 months, yeah? The jar stays on the altar. This jar's traveling with us all the way to the top. So that's your solar plexus ritual. Yeah, simple one, but a powerful one. The transformational power of fire. Super important. That's why I'm smoking a pipe. My pipe's made from an 80-year-old rose bush, my rose pipe. And then I'm going to send you a meditation for the anointing of the heart, the sanctifying of the heart at the Jupiter-Venus conjunction on the 10th of June at New Zealand Standard Time. I'll make sure you get an email. I'll put it in the chat and I'll put it on the website. So it'll be in all the places so you don't miss it. And if something happens and you don't do it on the exact day, these astrological alignments, they echo. Precision is useful, but there's still an echo a few days either side, so don't stress out about it too much. It's just so important to remember that we're part of something bigger, yeah? This is a higher love, and in our daily struggles and our daily aspirations, navigating the big feelings and all of the things, it's also something bigger that we're part of and something bigger that we're made of. And so allowing ourselves to be in a really healthy relationship with that, a really loving relationship with that, and a relationship with that where we use our higher will to choose love over and over and over again until our last breath, to keep choosing it. It's probably the best use of the ego, that we could have. So thank you for bearing with me. We're right on time at 12 now. I will stay on if anyone has any questions. Yeah, this will be uploaded tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, I just appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
I'd love to ask a question.
Yeah.
And thank you, personally, thank you. Wow. Wondering if you have suggestions on other ways to work with tobacco as albeit though I love my smoking relationship with tobacco has been very abusive. It's a strong word, but unaligned. Even if I start back in a holy place, I always come to a habit, to an unconscious side of that range, Any thoughts or experience with that?
I've helped a lot of people quit smoking by giving them vomitivos with tobacco.
Hey, really?
But I can't suggest that because I'm not there to do it for you
Oh, I
safely.
would love that though. Yeah,
You can
yeah,
poison
but not
yourself
by
if you
myself.
go. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
situation, but that is one thing. I think another thing is just the fire offerings, offering it to the fire,
Yeah.
making your prayers and then offering it to the fire in front of you rather than using your body. And you can still speak the prayer because really, like, as you know, the purpose of the tobacco is mercurial. It's the messenger. It sends the prayers up. It gets the information, and then the fire carries the message. So you can do that without smoking it, and that is the way that I would do that. Also, if you're making a protective bath, you could sprinkle a little bit, not too much, but a little bit of tobacco in your bath, and because there might be a part of you that's really longing for the protection and the grounding of the tobacco.
There is. It's very emotional, actually, the desire. When I get behind the actual impulse for nicotine as a chemical constituent, there's absolutely um, feeling like safe. Like I've been keeping this little red box of tobacco with me, just like around the house, just for his presence.
Yeah, and you have been initiated into those traditions, and you live in the Americas, and you're in a field that's shamanically active, where tobacco is one of the messengers and one of the beings who's quite alive. So, yeah, having a relationship and just being like, you can be friends with someone without sleeping with them. You can be friends with tobacco without smoking it. It's just that thing of like, we got to have some boundaries here, but I love you. And, or you can have a tobacco plant growing and you just like talk to it. Um, Another option, maybe. But yeah, definitely doing those fire offerings. Um, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Do you find that a timing correspondence for tobacco is Wednesday?
I've never really looked into it. What I've noticed is when I'm bleeding, I don't smoke my pipe.
Ah, okay,
And I
okay.
don't smoke my pipe all the time. Like when I'm in the jungle, I'm smoking every day. If I'm on a retreat, I'm smoking all the time. Here at home, I might smoke my pipe once a week. Not when I'm bleeding, but I just don't have that addictive thing. Tobacco doesn't get
Yeah.
me in the same way as other things. There's been moments, but it was because I was so spiritually, my human self couldn't keep up with how fast my spirit was going. My spirit was just like 100 miles an hour, and my body, my personality, my nervous system was like, oh, I can't keep up. And so the tobacco was like a constant anchor to try and ground that. And I think when I'm not in such an intense shamanic field, it doesn't, you know. But I would do a bath, like do a bath. I'm going to do a bath, I think, today as well. And um, put some tobacco in it, a little bit of tobacco maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Frozen
Thanks, Elise.
tobacco is a really beautiful divine union, linking in like Actually, one of the tobacco purges that I've given people years ago was I would brew like 4 liters of weak rose tea, give them the strong tobacco to drink on the empty stomach, and then they sit and they wait. And then they chug the rose tea and purge with that, and then journey. And
Oh my.
it was super intense. Yeah, really beautiful. But again, you've got to be so careful because tobacco can stop people's hearts, can poison people. So it's.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, I appreciate this conversation. I heard you say you're getting your pipe, and I went and got mine, and I'm just like, I only just got introduced to Mapacho in November last year, and I'm like navigating the establishment of the relationship. So I appreciate this conversation. Thank you for bringing it up, Lady Rose.
Yeah,
But
That's
yeah,
lovely.
I'm curious, because I'm bleeding right now, and I didn't really feel like I felt like I could smoke my pipe. So I'm curious about why you feel like you don't smoke it while you're bleeding.
Um, I have, like, with my health, my womb and my bleed has been the most challenging thing in my life. I have endometriosis, I have a big fibroid, I bleed really heavily. I sometimes take pharmaceuticals to stop the bleeding because I was losing too much iron. And, in all my years of working with the plants, it's improved, but it's still a thing. So I think it could just be about the kind of level of sensitivity going on with my bleed. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a personal thing. Um, some traditions, sacred objects, things like your pipe that's full of your teta, when we're bleeding, we're just like releasing back to the earth. We're like draining out so much energy. And some traditions would say that if a bleeding woman picked up a sacred object, they'd suck all the power out of it.
Oh,
Mm.
That's why women aren't allowed in some ceremonies and different traditions, largely when they're bleeding. Not because it's dirty, but because it's too strong. And so I don't really feel like that's going on. I feel like for me, it's more like the tobacco in my system is too strong when I'm bleeding.
okay, thank you.
Like what they'd say in the jungle is like, it's chocando. It's like I'm trying to smoke, but it's like crushing up against the blood and it's not vibing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks for bearing with me, everybody. Run on the recording. Much love. We're at 2 hours now, so I'm trying to be a good Saturnian and respect the time limits. If there's no other questions, I'll leave it there and say au revoir. Thanks, ladies. Ciao.